you doing? Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Jake Letizia, and this is another episode of Talking to Myself. How you doing? How's it going? Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well. Hope your Christmas was good. I legitimately don't know when Hanukkah is, but I hope it's good. It's coming up, right? It's coming up, or it already happened. I don't know. But I hope it went well. I hope you got a bunch of presents. I hope shit went fucking perfect for you. And if you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. Or Happy Christmas if you're from London. Do the British say Happy Christmas, or was that just the thing we all saw in Harry Potter? Which is that? Because for me, that was when I decided J.K. Rowling was a bad person. I know that now she's done other things that have made a lot of us go, fuck this lady. But even before then, before that all went down, I heard Harry Potter say Happy Christmas, and I went, this woman is out of hand. Everyone in Harry Potter, all the main characters went, Happy Christmas, oh, Happy Christmas, Hermione. And Hermione didn't respond to Harry by going, can you say Merry, you stupid fucking piece of shit? Since Hermione didn't respond with that, I immediately went, J.K. Rowling is a nefarious person. J.K. Rowling has evil in her heart, and it starts at Happy Christmas. Okay? But I never knew if it was her or British people, and I'm going to be honest, I still don't know, bro. There's a lot of things I don't know. I really, for the life of me, don't know when Hanukkah is, and I also don't know the vernacular, the colloquial way to say, have a good Christmas in British. But if it's Happy Christmas, then my hatred extends off of J.K. Rowling and goes to everybody who talks like this. Everybody who's like, hello. Dude, it's so fun when you do a British accent to a British person because they get so fucking mad. But here's the thing, is that like most accents are crazy offensive. They just are, dude. Right? When a British dude does, I have been in multiple circumstances where a British or Australian dude will do an American accent, right? And then he'll laugh, or his friends will laugh, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, all right, yeah, you sound like an American. And then they will be angry, dude. I've had a few Australian dudes get viscerally angry at me when I reply to their American accent with an Australian one. And to that, all I have to say is, I know. I know. Why are you so mad? It doesn't matter if my accent is good. What matters is it's as good as the one being done to me. You know? I've heard a lot of Italian accents. All of them are terrible, and that's okay, dude. I don't think an accent should be good. Honestly, when someone does an accent that's really good, I look at them and I'm like, all right, dude, go be in a movie then. If you have a great British accent, move to Britain and get roles there. That's what you do. If you can do an authentic accent from a different country, you move to that place and then you become the most famous actor there. That's your duty as a person who's good at recreating that accent. That's your duty as a human being. Look at every single British dude who can do a great American accent. They all immediately, instinctually were pulled to the US, where they dominated every goddamn fucking TV show and movie that exists, dude. Michael Fassbender, bro. Michael Fassbender. Number 11. What's her name? 11? 78? What's her name? Millie Bobby Brown? Drake's girlfriend? What is it? No, not Drake's girlfriend. Or maybe now, I don't know. I don't know, dude. Maybe that creepy friendship led to something much worse. Has there been any update with that? No, right? Do you guys remember that, right? I've talked about this on this podcast. Millie Bobby Brown getting texted by Drake when she was what, 15? Now how old is she? 20? How old is she now? Old enough where Drake might get in some trouble right now, dude. Old enough where if the right people remember that viral moment, they might try and create a new one, you know? Anyway, Christmas, dude. Christmas was good. Merry Christmas. Or Happy Christmas. I don't actually care. One of my favorite things to do is get really mad about something that I don't care about and act as though I really care about it, and then once someone pushes me, once somebody else gets really angry, I just reveal like I don't really care. I don't care at all. I think that's something that is like a part of my family, but there's a thing in my family where you argue aggressively a point, and you get very upset when people go against it. But then it rarely happens where a person just goes, I actually don't care. I just wanted to argue. But a lot of times it feels like that. A lot of times it feels like in my family, maybe it's the Italian thing, I don't fucking know. But people like to passionately argue about shit that doesn't matter at all. But rarely do people ever, at the end of it, just go, I actually don't care. So in my life, I started doing that just to see what would happen. And most of the time, it's nice. It's a fun time. One time I was talking about how Netflix doesn't make any money. And then my friend let me yell about that for like 5 minutes. For like 5 to 10 minutes, I was talking about how Netflix doesn't make any money and it's bullshit and it's going to go bankrupt and all this fucking shit. And then eventually my friend hopped into the conversation and was like, that's not true. This is how it works. I still don't remember how it works financially. There's certain things that people say to you and it will never be knowledge that you take into your brain and your soul, dude. There's certain things that you can learn 1,000 times and it doesn't matter. It goes in one ear, out the other, into a trash can, dude. He told me exactly how the finances of a business work. And instead of retaining any of the information, I just looked at him and I went, why didn't you stop me earlier? Why didn't you stop me earlier, bro? I was talking bullshit. I was talking out of my ass for several minutes, dude. And you know what happened? He laughed, dude. Because usually if you're talking a bunch of bullshit and then you just reveal that you were in fact talking a bunch of bullshit, people have a good time with that. I've noticed. But people like to triple down on what they know is excreting from their asshole. It is very fascinating to me that people will dive into an argument not believing in what they're saying, but then they will argue it long enough where they become angry like they believe the thing. I've seen people, like, it doesn't even matter what it is, dude. Me and my brother were arguing about fucking Starfield. And it was one of the rare moments where I actually was getting angry. I was getting annoyed. I was getting annoyed because I think my brothers are the only people who I argue with, and it'll genuinely get me upset. Most people at this point, if I argue with them, at a certain point, I'll either just be like, whatever, man, agree to disagree, or I'll just be like, sure. I've many times to just get out of an annoying argument just gone, sure. Yeah, maybe you're right. And then you let fate dictate whether or not they find out they're right or wrong. You just let the world take over. And at a certain point, if you're arguing with someone about something as stupid as a video game, at a certain point you just go, you know what? I'll let fate determine whether or not they'll be wrong about that forever. I don't give a fuck. If we're talking about how the physics work in GTA 5, I don't give a fuck. Because there'll be shit like that. Shit like that is like, why are you arguing? I stopped arguing about technical shit, specific shit, when I was 15, dude. No, that's not true. Later than that. When I was like 22, I stopped arguing about whether or not the SMG is in this or that video game. Do you know what I'm saying? I stopped arguing about whether or not the bank heist from GTA 4 is the best mission. You know, I stopped arguing that shit, dude. That's not a good example. I stopped arguing whether or not Nico Bellic is the main character in GTA 4 or GTA 3. Do you know what I'm saying? Because people will do shit like that. They'll be like, "Oh, that bank heist when you rob the Liberty City Bank, that's in GTA 3, right?" Like someone will say something as stupid as that to you, and when I was 19, I would argue it to the death. Okay, but now I just go, I think it's in 4. And if they're like, "Are you sure?" "I think it's 3. You go, "I'm not sure." Because you know why? Because people look shit up and they find out the truth. But the only time that I get genuinely annoyed is when I'm arguing with my brothers. And it's something that is purely opinion. And my brother will argue it as fact. Like we were arguing about Starfield. And I was saying that Starfield is worse than the old Elder Scrolls games. Like Starfield is worse than Fallout 3 to me. Like I think Fallout 3 is good because his whole argument was if you thought that Starfield was going to be improved, was going to be an improvement over any of the old Bethesda games, you're an idiot. Which I don't think that's true. I think that it's reasonable to think that you'd be able to walk into buildings without a loading screen. Okay, that's you know, I expected the gameplay to be the same. I expected the not move their faces not moving at all to be the same. I expected the normal moment-to-moment gameplay of Starfield to be exactly like every Bethesda game, but when it came to the new things, when it came to traveling from planet to planet, when it came to all the stuff that was Starfield specific, I had some expectations because they've never done a space game. And I don't think it's crazy to expect that on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and PC, modern PCs in 2023, I don't think you're an idiot if you expected to be able to walk into a building without it loading. I don't think that's crazy. So that's how his argument started. And then he said, yeah, but like if you expected it to be like any better than the old games, then you're an idiot. And I was like, well, it's not just it's not even as good. Like the exploration is garbage. The exploration, the main part of all these games, that is good. The going into a big map that's very detailed and beautiful and being like, what the fuck is over there? None of that is in Starfield. You fast travel into planets that are empty, do a mission, and then leave. That's what you do. And to me, there's no real memorable characters. There's no real memorable set pieces. And so he starts arguing that so then he starts saying like, well, I haven't even played the game, so maybe you're right. And I'm like, okay, well, that's fair. But then as I continue, my mistake was continuing, because once my brother gives you an out, you just got to take the out and move on, because if you say any more things, he will constantly find ways to argue against you, even if the argument doesn't really make much sense. Like I start saying the stuff about the characters. I'm like, well, in Fallout 3, they had set pieces. They had gameplay moments that I remember. They had blowing up Megaton with a nuke. They had that ghoul who you're getting the fucking armor from, that green worn out power armor. Like they had better characters in that game, and he's like, I don't really think there are that many better. Actually, before I even mentioned the characters, he goes, what characters were good from Fallout 3? I don't think there was any good story or characters from those games. And then I mentioned the ghoul, and he goes, everyone says the ghoul. That's like the one guy everyone says. Whatever, dude. Yeah, that's the first one people say because he's the best character, dude. Also, if you remind me, if I forgot every good character in Fallout 3 and then you reminded me of them, like if I played Fallout 3 again, I would start going, oh yeah, these characters are cool. The fucking super mutant dude who was a good guy, bro. That guy was dope. The fucking dude in the tree, the fucking mutant tree, that was great. All the little enslaved kids in that camp who you can either free or not free, that was awesome. The fucking the dudes who are slavers. Your dad, dude, going into that simulation and saving your dad from it. Bro, there's tons of shit in Fallout 3 that is memorable and awesome. And then also the exploration. I wanted to see every inch of Fallout, dude. I wanted to see every inch of the torn down Washington, D.C. And every time I play the game, I'm remembered how much I love it and I want to explore again. Okay? The Iron Giant at the end, that giant robot that you storm the Capitol with. Bro. Dude, you do January 6th, 20 years before it fucking happened, dude. In Fallout 3, bro. A virtual post-apocalyptic January 6th, dude, is in Fallout 3? That's memorable. What do you do in Starfield? You float around in a temple and fucking do the same minigame 18 times for powers? It's not as interesting. But anyway, as I was arguing that, he starts going like, yeah, but I don't know, but I don't think that any of those characters are that interesting or any of the storylines were that interesting. And I'm like, yeah, but that is your opinion. And he's like, what do you mean? I go, that's your opinion. I go, even if 90% of the world disagreed with you and said that they liked the characters in it, you would still disagree with that and think you're right, but that's just your opinion on it. And I watched him sit there be like, well, I don't know. Like he couldn't accept that it was his opinion that he didn't like the story in the games or that he didn't like the characters. And then he was saying why would the gameplay be any better? The gameplay in those games have never been good. And then I'm like, yeah, but I wasn't expecting like the reason why I don't care about the gameplay not being amazing or the fighting not being amazing is because of the set pieces. Also, Skyrim I don't think is as interesting story-wise as Oblivion. I think that the Fighters Guild is way cooler in Oblivion. I think the main story of going into Oblivion gates and entering hell and closing them down is way more interesting. I think that, yeah, the Fighters Guild, the fighting in the actual arena, the Colosseum is way cooler than Skyrim. Fighters Guild, where you like become a werewolf or whatever the fuck happens. The Thieves Guild, I guess actually assassinating people is way cooler in Oblivion than whatever I don't even remember what you do in Skyrim because it wasn't memorable. And he was just like, I don't know, I feel like none of it was that interesting. And I'm like, yeah, but that's your opinion. And he goes, I mean, honestly, the best part of Fallout 3 was the gameplay. And I'm like, bro, what are you talking about, dude? You were just arguing that the gameplay sucks. So he just kept going back and forth on it in a way that was very much irritating me. And then I was getting irritated at myself for getting so irritated because I was like, bro, just stop having this conversation. Because that's the thing, too, is that we got to the point where I was like, you need to understand that this is just, we have two separate opinions on the matter. And he still wouldn't let it go, dude. So when someone will not let a conversation go, it's your job to let it go. If someone will not stop arguing about something that you think is silly, then you become the asshole for continuing. It's not on him for me. I should have just been like, once I said the opinion part, I should just bowed the fuck out. But I love my brother. And also at the end of that conversation, it did basically amount to him being like, well, I got to play the game. That's also funny too, is that I'm arguing aggressively with my brother who did not even play about a game that he did not even play. But that happened more than once. That happened with a friend of mine too. I was talking about how I didn't like Starfield. And he kept defending it before he played it. And then once he played it, the next time I talked to him about Starfield, he was like, yeah, I don't know. It was just fucking annoying the shit out of me. They have to fast travel into every planet. It just kept it was annoying the fuck out of me. And I was like, yeah, dude. Yeah. And I didn't say this to him at the time, but in my head, I was like, it's interesting how when I told you that was a thing, you made excuses for it. There was heavy cope around that game. I don't know why. I mean, I guess I know why. It's because people really love those games and people wanted Starfield to be amazing. And I'll agree with the aspect of like, I think people are talking, I think at this point, people are just kind of saying the same things about it because there's not much to be said about that game. This is my experience with Starfield. I started playing the game, right? And I was annoyed at how fucking boring it was, and I was annoyed at how there were no set pieces, and I was annoyed about how I had to fast travel everywhere, and I was annoyed that I couldn't fly directly into a planet. And I was annoyed that there were tutorials for literally nothing in the game. And I was annoyed that I had to look up things constantly. I was annoyed that there were no fucking maps. I was constantly annoyed that I was like, this game feels prehistoric. This game feels so fucking old. But then once I accepted that this game just plays like Fallout 3, this game is just not going to play like a modern video game. It's going to play like Fallout 3 and Oblivion. Once I accepted that, I started having a fun time with it. I started enjoying some of the side missions. I started actually liking the game. I started going like, this game, even though what angers me about this game is how prehistoric it is, but the Bethesda charm is still the Bethesda charm. The Bethesda charm still is charming. And I'm being charmed by it now that I've accepted this game sucks. When you accept the game is not very good technically, you start just playing the game that is there, and there is some enjoyment to be had. But then even beyond that, once you've had your fun with what's there, you then can look back at it objectively and go, well, every single quest line ended the same. Every single quest line was, there's these suspicious things happening. And then you getting evidence to show the suspicious thing is happening, and then someone is arrested. That's every single quest line was that, to a T. Was, this person seems nefarious. Then the twist is, the guy who's the head of whatever, the guy who's helping or whatever the fuck, is the villain, and then you get evidence of them on a holotape that's like, I'm the fucking villain, and then you show it to some other random body of people who aren't interesting, and they're all like, you're arrested now, and hey man, you're the best part of this guild. You're the best part of this, best guy in the faction now. That's how all of them end. And also you get frustrated because when you do like the equivalent of the Thieves Guild, the Space Pirate Guild, when that guy leaves it, you try and shoot him and you can't kill him even though he's not in the quest line anymore, even though there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to kill him because he literally does not pop up in the quest line ever again. I'm just complaining about things that if you haven't played the game, you don't know what I'm talking about. But what I'm saying is that game stinks. But I will say, I'm even sick of myself talking about it right now, because what's the point? Everything that needs to be said or will be said about Starfield, I feel like has been said. Also, it's more fun to talk about things that are good. And you know what's fucking good, dude? GTA 4, bro. GTA 4 is one of the greatest games of all time, dude. And I will say it's the best GTA. And I hope GTA 6 is like GTA 4. I hope it's super, super detailed. I hope that this story is funny, but also very personal and grounded. And it looks like it's going to be. It looks like the story is going to be way more personal and interesting than GTA 5. I've been watching videos where people are talking about how they think GTA 4 is the best one. And One of them said something about like how Trevor and Michael feel like characters you would get missions from rather than characters that you should play as, and I think that's true. I think things are so cartoonish in GTA 5 that it's like entertaining to watch, but it doesn't stay in you at all. It doesn't like the moments from that game do not remain with you at all. Meanwhile, in GTA 4, so many moments are fucking incredible. Also, the moment-to-moment gameplay it's so much simpler, and I think the game is better for it. Like, there's a mission where you go on a date with a guy. You need to kill some guy, so you go on this dating site, and then you ask him on a date, and then you go to a diner, and then you can have the date with him as long as you want, and then at a certain point you have to get up and just shoot him in the diner, and then that's the mission. But there's a bunch of shit like that. There's a mission where like you have to go to an apartment building and kill a couple or you have to like. There's a mission where you have to tail this dude, right? And I don't know what I feel like the 2000s. I feel like the Xbox 360 era. I said this to my friends. And I think this is true. The Xbox 360 era is like the 1970s for movies, dude. The 2000s are the 1970s. The 2000s are for video games what the 1970s were for movies. Like Taxi Driver and GTA 4 are the same. In that like they're both a little bit janky, they're rough around the edges, but they transform the entire medium in a way that will push every game forward. Like so much Mafia 2, so many video games, Crackdown. So like every single video game from the Xbox 360 era has inspired every single kind of video game that comes after it. That's the timer. I'll stop. I'm gonna keep talking. I'll see you guys in the second half. All right, what's up? I'm back. Yeah, so I think that the 2000s is the 1970s. The 2000s for video games is what the 1970s was for movies, dude. Fucking wasn't Goodfellas the 1970s, bro? There's so many, dude. So many movies that establish what the rest of movies will be, and so many games establish what the rest of video games will fucking be. I mean, Arkham Asylum came out during the 360 era. Dude, GTA 5 came out during the fucking 360 era, and even that, The Last of Us came out during the PS3 360 era. Like, we have not improved that much. We've improved graphically, and we've improved gameplay-wise, but like, Call of Duty 4, dude. All of these games shaped what video games are now, and we still have changes and innovations and new types of games that come out, but none of it is that much of a gameplay leap than it was from San Andreas to GTA 4, dude. From fucking Call of Duty 2 to Call of Duty 4. Like, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. Maybe it's because it's the era I played video games in, and maybe it's because I was in middle school playing the 360. Maybe people feel very differently. If you're playing GTA, if GTA 4 was my first GTA, and I've gone back and tried to play the other ones, and they're hard to play. They're good. I appreciate them for certain aspects. There's certain things that are cool about those games, but they are very difficult to play. Whereas GTA 4 is a little bit janky, but I think in 10 years' time, you'll still be able to finish that game. Okay? There are no RC car missions in GTA 4. They knew what to remove so that you could finish the video game. But yeah, man, GTA 4 is sick as fuck. And that's what I got for Christmas. I got GTA 4 for Christmas. I didn't ask for it. I bought it online. I bought it for $7. Dude, if you don't have GTA 4 digitally and you want it, $7, on if you have Game Pass, it's a $7 discount on Xbox right now. I don't know, you probably can't play it on, dude. PlayStation's fucking up, dude. The fact that I can't buy PS3 games on my PlayStation is bullshit, dude. It really fucking sucks. Or PS2. Dude, make it backwards compatible. Make it so I can buy God of War 1 and 2 for the PS2 and play it on my PS4. Why? Or PS5. Why the fuck not? Both of them. Or make a remake, dude. Why is there... I don't want PlayStation Now, dude. No one wants to stream video games. No one wants to play a pixelated video game because the streaming is not good enough to play a game fluidly. No one wants to play God of War 1 and 2 on PlayStation Now. I know that the reason why they've never been updated or remade or they've never the reason why you can't play them anywhere else but PlayStation Now is because it's the only thing that makes people download it for 1 month. I'm willing to, I want to see the stat, dude. I'm willing to bet that the stats on PlayStation Now are 98% of people download it for a month, play God of War 1 and 2 or 3 times, maybe just once, and then they fucking unsubscribe and don't get it again for another year, dude. For another 1 to 5 years. Every time I've ever downloaded PlayStation Now, it was to play a game that I can't play backwards compatible on the 360. I downloaded it once to play The Darkness. It fucking sucked so bad that I bought the disc version on Amazon to play on my Xbox One. Then the next time I did it, I tried to play God of War. It was for God of War. I've probably subscribed 3 different times to try and play God of War, and every time I play it, it gets pixelated and shitty, and I'm like, why can't I just download these games? And now they've made it so PlayStation Now you can download some of the games, but most of them are just PlayStation 4 games. Why? Remake God of War 1 and 2. We're in the era of remakes, dude. That's how you know also as well that my comparison is right by the 70s and the 2000s. Because now we're in the era of like doing remakes for all these games. And fucking, you know, we had that era already. I mean, we're still doing that in movies. I mean, once that gets introduced, remaking movies or rebooting movies, it'll never stop happening. But I don't know. I think at least for video games, they're learning that a remake is better than a reboot. Although, I don't know. That Devil May Cry reboot was sick as fuck. I enjoyed that. But Dead Space remake is amazing as well. It's so different, though, because you can't remake a movie. Right? That's the beauty of being able to play a thing, and also graphics becoming... It being entirely a creation from the ground up. The fact that you use, and also the fact that movies are so practical, like all of the best movies from the 70s, all the best movies from the older age are way more practical, no CGI. It makes it so that, you know, what would you add to a movie? Video games, you can bring these fucking horrible, horrifying, janky looking games into the modern day and make them look incredibly detailed. Honestly, I wonder if there will be a wave of movies being remade, and it's like some of these Marvel movies, they pump a bunch of money into it to make the CGI actually look good. So that, you know, people will want to watch them again. I could see that happening. I mean, dude, CGI used to be good. And I forgot that. I forgot that till I rewatched Pirates of the Caribbean 2, and I was like, why does Davy Jones still look good? I was like, why does the CGI in this look better than anything I've seen in fucking 10 years? Why does this still hold up? Why does the CGI from Pirates of the Caribbean 2 and 3 still fucking hold up? And my friend was telling me, I didn't know this, and I still don't know this, because this is something my friend told me. Most of the information I know and understand to be true are just things people have told me. So I really don't know if anything is true or not, but I'm going to say what my friend said. He said that apparently they cut back on the budget for CGI, or they cut back on like paying people as many hours for CGI. So CGI is just way less detailed now because they slashed the budgets on it. Which I believe them. Because, I mean, dude, I watched a clip. I didn't watch the new Thor movie, but I watched a clip from that movie of Christian Bale murdering a god or murdering some dude with a gold hat, with a gold crown. And the CGI on that was like so crazy bad, it hurt my fucking brain, dude. You watch The Lord of the Rings now, and the CGI is still fucking good. You know what frustrates me too with a lot of this shit is that people are always like, well, yeah, like it's expensive to pay for these things. But we're talking about companies that have an ungodly amount of fucking money and they can afford to spend the money on it. They can afford to spend the fucking money on it. And they're like, yeah, but the movie will make less money. And it's always like, yeah, but it'll make less money than all of the money. You know? It'll make less money than all of the money. Like GTA 5. They never made single player DLC for it, even though they said they were going to. And people kept being like, well, GTA Online just makes them so much fucking money, and it's like way less of an investment. They're like, if they made a DLC, it would cost way more money. And it's like, yeah, it would. It would cost them more money, but they would still make money. They would still make money. Sure, it's the harder thing to do, and it'll be easier. And also, it's not that fucking easy to maintain an online video game and keep it fun. But sure, dude, sure, if they made Undead Nightmare 2 for Red Dead Redemption 2, it would cost them a lot of money. But they would still make money at the end of the day. We would still all buy it. Sometimes artistically, you do a thing because it's good for the soul of the people in the world, dude. Sometimes you feed people's souls with art because it's the thing that you should do, dude. You might not make as much money, but sometimes you make less money so the world can have something special. Right? Sometimes you sacrifice certain things so that people can be happy and experience something they've never experienced before. It's doable. You know how I know it's doable? God of War Ragnarok, and I people have already said this, but they just released Valhalla. And it's a free fucking DLC, and it doesn't matter how you feel about that game. They released a free DLC. They didn't make any fucking money off of this DLC. But they did it. You know why? Because their fans, because they know what it means to make their fans happy. They know what it means to show respect for the audience that makes the video game able to exist by buying it in the first place. They know how to build goodwill instead of ill will. I feel like so many fucking video games nowadays, so many companies nowadays, they just say fuck you to the consumer. They just say fuck you to the people who want to play the game. The people who their whole lives are dedicated to fucking being a fan of this thing. The company will spit in their fucking face. And a lot of times, like, people's arguments are valid. I don't know. I feel like so many people's arguments get dismissed because some people are being shitty. Some people have ill will. Okay, their intent is awful and malicious. Okay, but other people just make a good argument, and And I feel like sometimes a lot of game companies or developers will try and just shove that argument into the sea of malicious arguments, and then they discredit anyone who has good criticism. It's strange, dude. Like The Last of Us 2 is a good example of like a lot of people shit all over that game in a way that I thought was bullshit. But also a lot of people shit on that game in a way that I thought was fucking very valid. And I've talked about this on the podcast before because it's the best example. I don't think it's crazy. Part of people being upset that, spoiler alert, Joel is so brutally murdered in that game is that people wanted to play as Joel a little bit in the game, dude. And I don't think that's that crazy. I don't think it's that crazy, even though we know we're going to play as Ellie. And no one had a problem playing as Ellie. Everyone liked playing as Ellie. But in the same way that in the first Last of Us, it was interesting to play as Ellie for a little bit, the player, me, a lot of people were like, it'll be interesting to play the game as Ellie and be able to play as Joel for a little bit. And then they brutally murdered a beloved character and then had you play as this other character who murdered him. It's understandable that people didn't love that choice. And I respect your artistic endeavors and I respect that you did that. But at the same time, you know, couldn't you have had us play as Joel a little bit? In those flashbacks, couldn't you have had a couple flashbacks where we played as Joel? I don't think it would have been that crazy, dude. I don't think it would have been that crazy. And I think it would have made people happy. I just think the balance was off in that game. I think that you would have gotten away with the shit that pissed people off if you gave them a little bit more stuff that would have made them satisfied. You can satisfy the audience while making something artistically pure. You can have a lot of artistic merit to your work and still please the audience. I don't know. But anyway, at the end of the day, it's just video games, bro. Who cares? It's just games, dude. At the end of the day, it's just fucking video games, and you don't need to play them. I don't need to play them. But, I don't know, I just think it's shitty to always do the thing that upsets everyone. To just always do the thing that makes more money. You don't need to make more money. You can make less money and still make a lot of money. That's the thing that I feel like never comes up in arguments about money. Is that people, you could still make a lot of money you could still make a lot of money even though it's not as much money as you can make. Do we need to always make the most money? I don't fucking know. Anyway, Merry Christmas. I don't know. I'm done. I've talked about this shit enough. It's probably boring as fuck anyway. I apologize if that bored the fuck out of you. But you know, I'm passionate, bro, about video games. Dude, it's fascinating at Christmas, like what quiets the room. At my holiday, there's about like 30 people every year at my Christmas Day holiday, and every once in a while the room will go completely silent, and you'll just hear what my aunts and uncles are talking about, and it's always like it's always the silliest thing that will silence the room. It's always fascinating what bit of conversation will be happening when there's a moment of silence. And this year the room went to a complete hush, and then you just heard my dad being like, yeah, so I got this haircut, and the guy was trying to, like, you know, he's like making it like he's doing like a fade, you know, like he like made it like too short on the sides. He was trying to make me look like he said like us so many times that I was like, what is he not trying to say? I feel like he was I feel like he wanted to say like a black guy, but he doesn't know enough about fades at all to be able to know if that's the right thing to say or if it's kind of coming from a bad place. So he settled with like you know, like a young guy, like he's trying to make me look cool. He's trying to make me look cool, dude, which was code for black. Cause dude, a fade, bro, a fade on a black guy looks cool as fuck, dude. They're trying to make my dad look cool, dude. I mean, he's Italian, bro. Maybe they thought, hey, black dudes love fades. Italians must love them too, dude. I mean, it's Westchester, New York. The white dude cutting his hair might have saw my Italian father sit in the chair, and he's like, this guy's black. Let me give him a fade, dude. No, but anyone could get a fade. Those, I guess. I don't know shit about fades. What is it? I don't know shit about hair. It's another thing. I don't know anything about hair. I cut my own hair and I don't know anything about fucking hair. Is a fade a specific thing, or is it just when one longer layer of hair fades into a shorter layer of hair? Is that all a fade is? I don't know. I like asking questions on this podcast like the camera's going to answer what I'm asking. Well, you know, if one of the 20 people who listens to this wants to comment and to tell me what a fade is, or if I'm right about what a fade is, fire it off, dude. Anyway, my dad said that. He said he wanted to make me look like a cool guy. He wanted to make me look cool. But you know, then I went back to the guy. I went back and I was like, oh, can you actually change it? And he's like, oh yeah. So he changed it. You know, it's all good. That's what quieted the room. That's what everyone at the table was intently listening to. And then like an hour later, it was something about Trump. Cause that's how it goes, dude. That's how it goes, dude, with an Italian family, bro. That's what happens, dude. On the holidays, on Christmas Day, they're talking about haircuts. And they're talking about Donnie T, bro. That's what's going on. And there's somebody being like, and then eventually there's somebody, usually my dad, going, hey, let's not talk politics. Let's not fucking talk politics. Can we not talk about this shit? And he's in the right, dude. Like, stop. Just stop. Just stop talking about politics. Dude, it's rough because I'll hear my mom every year say the same things she said last year, like give the same information and tell the same stories she told the year before to my aunts and uncles. And I watch them all not remember if they've heard it before. They have no concept of whether they heard it before because they're barely listening to it every time. Or they are listening to it, but they're just old enough where like stories don't matter if they're told anymore, you know? To the point where I watch them do that and I'm like, fuck, dude, one day that's just going to be me. More and more as I get older, I start to realize that I'm having the same conversation I've had 2 or 3 times with a person. And then what happens is instead of you being like, fuck, we've had this conversation before, every time it happens, the more you're just like, whatever, let's just have it again. And that's what life becomes, dude. The older you get, the more your life becomes, let's just have the same conversation until we die. Because there's no real room for new conversations. By the time you hit 35, I think you've hit all your interests for the most part. I would say we're 40. I don't know. I'm not there yet, but once I hit 40, I'm going to assume that most of my interests will be shaped. And then from 40 until you die, you're just kind of having the same conversations over and over again until your heart decides to be like, I've heard enough of this shit. Until your heart starts thinking for you and they go, it's about enough about talking about video games. We've had about enough of you talking about how people are annoying, you know? That's what it's going to be. It's going to be a slow, repetitive life until you die. That's most of life, is a slow repetition until it's over. The worst is as you get older, you start telling the same story again, and then people don't. Because what I do is if I'm telling someone a story that they've heard before, I want them to tell me so that I can not tell it again. But what will happen is people will tell you like 2 weeks later. You know what will happen? You'll be telling someone a story, and in the middle of it, you'll go, have I told you this before? And they go, yeah, you've told me it like a couple of times. And I'll go, why have you never stopped me? And they go, oh, I don't know, because I figured you like telling it. I don't, dude. I don't. I'm just being a repetitive cunt, dude. I'm just being a repetitive fuckface right now. Stop me, dude. Dude, if I'm repeating a story I've told you before, just look at me and go, boring. Boo! If I am talking about how GTA 4 is the best game for the fourth time, just go, shut up! Just go like this. We know! Don't let me talk about the same thing, bro. Don't let me talk about fucking why relationships work or don't work for the 80th time, okay? It was probably bad the first time, dude. Dude, also sometimes you have a bad story that people just let you tell over and over again. And every time you say it, the people around you are like, ew, dude, why does he tell this story? Dude, how do you know you're not that guy? Dude, there is a person. There is a person who... There's this guy who every time you see him, he tells the same fucking story, and it sucks, and no one tells him it sucks. And every time you hear that story, you think to yourself, how do I know I'm not him? And you don't. You just pretend you aren't. Because you probably are him, dude. Everyone is probably him in certain moments. Just talking about the one time that you fell out of a tree, doesn't matter. The one time you were drunk and you puked, and everyone's like, "What? You're drunk and this is barely a story, but this is barely a story, but you're telling it for 22 minutes. The major details of this story is you got drunk, puked, and someone was justifiably mad, and somehow you've told me the story 17 times, and each version gets 20 minutes longer. How is that possible, dude? Part of the reason why it gets longer is because the more you tell it and the older you get, the more you go, yeah, so I went to the house and, what the fuck happened? Billy was in the house. Or John. No, it was John. Who did I live with then? Who did I live with? Anthony, you remember, right? Who did I live with in college? Bill? So me and Bill, we were in the dorm, and it was like 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Was it noon? It might have been noon. Fuck, what were we doing at noon? We were drinking at noon? Oh, we were day drinking. Okay, we were day drinking. And then Cynthia came in the room, and I dated her for a long time. I don't know why I dated her for so long. It didn't really even work out. I wonder what she's doing now. That becomes your life, dude. And then you die. That's what your life becomes, and then you die, dude. And that's what I think of every time I listen to my parents on Christmas. That's what I think of every time I hear my parents on Christmas. I think that's gonna be us, and we're gonna die. And the moment they die, I'll know it's my turn next. And that's just life. Anyway, Merry Christmas. I'm gonna go play GTA 4 and pretend I'm Nico Bellic, cause why not? Yeah, dude. I don't know what the fuck. Yeah, that's it. The timer went off. Thank you for listening. If you listen to the entire thing, you're the fucking best. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week. Oh, Happy New Year also. I'll see you guys in the new year. Peace.
Jake, you're an idiot. Jake, you don't make any sense. Jake, you're a piece of shit. A piece of shit.